So you're probably here because you're searching for a way to change your manual security code that the factory at Harley Davidson has set for you. Well, you've come to the right place. Welcome back, Bikeaholics. Ryan Urlacher here with lawabidingbiker.com. Thanks for checking back in. Got a quick video for you here. All right, Harley Davidson out of the factory. If you have a motorcycle, a Harley with a security code or a key fob security system, Harley Davidson factory sets all those the same. And so you definitely need to change that immediately when you get a new motorcycle. And what I'm talking about is that's great if you're riding and you have your key fob. You know, if you're within a certain distance of your bike will start. Once you walk away, it doesn't. That's the security system, the stock Harley security system. Within that security system, if you were to forget your key fob, you were out of town, anything like that, there is a way that you can start your bike without your key fob with a little trickery that we're going to show you. And using your signals, there's a way that you can set a 5-digit security code. And again, those security codes are the same out of Harley Davidson. So if you haven't changed it, I could basically get on your bike right now and I could start your bike. So you need to change that. You need to write it down. We're going to show you the easy way to set that and the easy way to get your bike started if you forget your key fob. Let's get into it. All right, guys, so a couple things I want to mention before we get into this security code deal is we're going to show you two different bikes. The first one we're working on is a pre-2014 model. It really doesn't matter what model. If you have the security system, this is likely how it's going to work. Then we're going to bump up to a 2014 and on and show you just a few different nuances and the way you have to do things to get into the PIN code settings. Just know that Harley Davidson does set these codes. They really haven't changed it over time. A few times they have, but right now on this bike it was 31313. And so just know that if anybody gets a hold of that information, if you've neglected to reset this, essentially they could get on your bike and get it fired up if they know the sequence and how to do that based on your stock PIN code. So please get in here after you see this video and change your security PIN code and write it down somewhere. Your manual actually comes with nice little handy cards that you can carry in your wallet. It gives you the techniques and the how to get back in it. If you are somewhere and you forgot your key fob, that you can do the sequence to get in and enter your PIN code and get your bike fired up. We will show you that too. So on this particular bike, again, pre-2014 model on this, guys. And what I want to tell you before we get started, because we're going to have to kind of go quick, be very, very deliberate and don't pause in between these steps a lot, okay? We did find that to be the case. So what you want to do on this particular model, pre-2014, is you're going to see me turn the ignition on 3 times. I'm going to turn it. It's in the off position. We're talking about the actual ignition switch down below your stereo or down above your triple trees, that kind of area. We're not talking about the ignition switch up on your control cluster for this particular pre-2014. We're only dealing with the ignition switch itself. You're going to hear me. It's in the off position. I'm going to turn it on 3 times. 1, off, 2, off. And then the third one, I'm going to leave it on in the ignition. I'm going to reach over, hit the left signal 3 times very deliberately, immediately followed up by 1 of the right signal. So let's go ahead and do this. You're going to hear me talk you through it. It's going to be rather quick. All right, I'm in the off position. I'm going to turn it on, off, on, off, on, left signal 3 times, right signal 1 time. You can see it went into the security PIN code right there. You can see the number 1 flashing. All right, that's what ours actually, we found it was set to 31313. We've changed it for video purposes here, just to show you guys, I changed it to 12345. So we're actually gonna set a security PIN code. Of course, don't worry about it after this video, we will change it, but in case you get any crazy thoughts. We're gonna set it to a new, it has to be 5 pins or 5 numbers, guys. So I'm just going to change it. Here we go. So the way we do this is with the left signal button is you just keep pushing it and get it to the value that you want it. So I'm pushing in on the left signal and I'm just ranking it up and I'm going to change this one. I want it to be 0. All right, I guess it can't be 0. So we're actually going to change it to 1. It's got to be a value of 1 or above. So we're going to change it to 1, and then with the right signal he just pushed, that advances your characters. And so he advanced over to the second position. We're going to change that, and I'm doing the left signal. We're going to change that to a 5. With the right signal, he's going to push, and that's going to advance it. And again, with the left signal, I'm going to go up and change it to an 8. With the right signal, I'm going to advance over, and again with the left signal, I'm going to change it to a 7. With the right signal, advance over one more position, and I'm going to change that to a 9. Actually, we'll change it to a 1. All right, and so now our security pin code is set. I need to write that down so you don't forget it. 15871. And the way that you set this so the bike remembers it is just simply reach up, turn your ignition off. All right, now that pin code is set, we've got it written down. If we were out of town, we could simply, and we didn't have our key fob, we could simply do a sequence of events, and we're going to show you that here in a minute, and we could get the bike fired up, guys. All right, and don't forget, we're going to show you a later model bike too. All right, so again, guys, pre-2014, we're out and about an event. We have forgotten our key fob. Don't freak out. As long as your forks aren't locked, I should say, which is why I don't lock my forks. But if your forks aren't locked, you could certainly at least get your, the bike up and running and on your way. All right, so the way you access this is very, very simple, guys. We're gonna turn the ignition to the on position and then follow it up. I'm gonna immediately hold at the same time the right and left signal until you see the pin numbers up in the odometer reading start flashing. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. We're gonna turn it on. And then once I turn it on, we're going to hold both signals. All right, and you can see it popped up in our window there, and you can see the little red key flashing. And we didn't start entering fast enough, so that might be something that happens. If that happens, go ahead and turn your ignition to the off position. We were a little slow on it because we're doing the video. So as soon as that happens and it starts flashing, I'm going to start working the left signal, and I'm going to get the first value in there, okay? So we're going to turn it on. And then we're going to hold. That comes up. I'm going to start hitting my left signal, put in our first value. I'm going to hit the right signal to advance over, and we remember it was 15871. Oops. All right, and then again, I'm going to get this value in here, 1587, and he's going to push the right signal. Oop, got to do an 8. All right, I can't count. All right, and now it's going to be I'm advancing with the left signal and then push the right signal. I'm going to enter that 1. As soon as you do that, you can hear we're going to turn the run switch on, and now we can fire our bike up and ride on without a key fob. All right, let's move over to a 2014 on model. Hopefully you're enjoying the video. If you want to make sure that content and these free videos keep coming your way, there is a way you can support us. Head over to lawabidingbiker.com/Patreon, Patreon. The community is growing over there. We'd like to have you involved too. There's no risk over there. You can sign up for a certain level and pay a certain amount per piece of content with a cap. Absolutely no risk. There are some benefits over there. T-shirts and a private Facebook group and some premium content. All depends on what level you sign up as. But that is a way that you can ensure the content keeps coming your way. lawabidingbiker.com/Patreon, Patreon. Of course, if you ever want to just leave a flat donation, we do accept that too and appreciate it. lawabidingbiker.com/donate. Don't forget to check out that weekly podcast, guys. It's on fire. Ton of content we're putting out. Get involved over there. It's the Law Abiding Biker Podcast. All right, let's get back into your video. So what we have for you now is a 2014 and beyond, guys. They changed things a little bit. This is a 2014, but it'll work for models 2014 and beyond. So the basic changes are on this particular model, we're going to turn the ignition switch, the main ignition switch, to the on position. Then it's going to be followed up by the control cluster run switch, the kill switch up on your right control cluster. You start with it in the off position. So once we turn the main ignition on, it's 3 times with the control cluster kill switch. So it'll be in the off and you'll go run, off, run, and leave the bike in the run position. Immediately followed up by 2 left signals, 2 left signal, deliberate, and then 1 right signal, and you'll see it'll put it in. So again, you have to kind of do this quick and do it very deliberately. If you pause in between and stuff, it's not gonna do it. So we're gonna talk you through it quick. All right, so first thing I'm gonna do is simply turn the main ignition to the ignition position, followed up quickly by 3, on, off, on, run, 2 left signal, 1 right signal. You can see it put us right into the security pin mode. You can see, again, I just did this for display purposes. That would be a factory default code that Harley did if you hadn't changed it. So we're gonna go ahead and change ours. The functionality is the same on this. The left signal actually, if I push in on it, it actually advances the numerical values. And so we'll just change this to 1, and the right signal moves it over, and we'll put in the 5, right signal advances it over, change it to an 8, right signal advances it over, change it to a 7, and right signal advances it over, and we'll change that back to a 1 just for video purposes here. And then the way you do this is to set it is go ahead and turn the kill switch off on your right control cluster to off, and then your ignition off, and that pin code is now set. Of course, there's a little bit different if you're out and about and you lose your key fob. There's a little bit different sequence to the 2014 and on. We're going to show you that. All right, so we're here with a 2014 and above model, guys, and we're out and about and we've lost our key fob for demonstration purposes. Our forks aren't locked. We want to ride on. And so a little bit different sequence. And all they want you to do on this bike is we're going to turn the ignition to on. It's recognized that our key fob is not present. If your key fob is present, it's not going to work because there's no reason to do this. We did learn that. So the way you do this is simply turn your ignition to the on position, your main ignition switch, and then quickly press and release the left signal. And you can see it immediately went into enter pin mode. I'm going to push the left signal, and it took me to the 1, and so that is our first digit. I'm going to push the right signal in advance, and we're just going to go through this left signal, 5, and I'm going to enter 8, and again we're advancing over with the right signal. There you go, and then left signal enters your numeric values. All right, and the last one is the number 1, which I just passed, and once we get that in, push the right, there you go, you heard the ignition come on, and we're ready to start the bike and ride on, guys. All right, let us show you here in a moment. We're going to show you the transport mode feature. Okay, little extra tips and tricks here, guys. This would be to put your bike in the transport mode. And basically when putting in the transport mode, the security system is armed without enabling the motion detector for 1 ignition cycle. Basically, guys, this allows the vehicle to be picked up and moved in an armed state. I will tell you, at any attempt to start the engine, when the fob is not present, range will still trigger the alarm. So what would this be good for? Your bike, you need to trailer it, it's broke down, and you don't want those signals flashing, or if you have an audible alarm, your alarm going off the whole time, that motion detector alarm that you guys are familiar with. You get on the bike and try to move it and the key fob isn't present, it sets those lights off, your battery would be dead. So this is transport mode. And so with the key fob present, you need to have the key fob to get it in transport mode. And the way we do that is simply I'm going to turn the ignition on and then turn it off. And before that red dot goes out that you see flashing there, before that goes off, within 3 seconds, we're going to hold both the left and right turn signal until it goes into that particular transport mode. So let's go ahead and do that. Ignition, main ignition switch on. And before that red dot goes out, off. And before it goes out, hold the left and right turn signal, and we're just going to keep holding it down. There you go. We're going to let up. The signals are flashing 3 times, and now you see that little red dot flashing. It's in the transport mode, and we can go ahead and test this for you. And again, the way you get it out of this mode is simply make sure your key fob's present and turn the ignition on, and it gets out of transport mode. But we're going to take the key fob away and show you what would happen. And right now I can basically wiggle the bike back and forth, and the lights and the motion detector is not working. We've tested that. All right, and for pre-2014 models, guys, just a little bit different sequence of events. The way you do it is you turn your ignition switch to the on position, your main ignition switch. Make sure your right control cluster, your kill switch, is to the off position. So ignition on, and then all you do is turn it from ignition to accessory, back to ignition, back to accessory, leave it on accessory. Within 5 seconds, reach up, simultaneously hold your right and left signal, and it will go into the transport mode. And after the turn signals flash once, you'll see both of them flash once. Turn the ignition switch to the off position then, and your bike will now be armed in the transport mode. That's the little bit of differences there. If you're not subscribed to this YouTube channel, you are really missing out. We have a ton of videos in the works for you guys, so get subscribed. Also sign up for the free email club, lawabidingbiker.com/email club. We will shoot you an email when we come out with new free videos. Also, do not forget to check out that weekly podcast. It's the Law Abiding Biker Podcast. It's heard worldwide. All right, peace out.